Hello, I'm Elizabeth, an obsessive backyard gardener who might be able to offer you a couple of tips.
And I'm Keith, a landscape consultant, and I'm also passionate about gardening.
The one thing we both have in common is muddy boots. There are only 3 weeks to go until we bid goodbye to summer and say hello to autumn. I always breathe a sigh of relief at this time of the year because it's just like we feel like we've made it through summer. Do you feel like that?
I do, yep. And worrying about watering and all that sort. It's horrible.
I know. Now is the perfect time to help our gardens recover from any summer stress and start to prepare for the change ahead. So today we're going to talk about the simple, practical gardening jobs you can start doing while there's still some summer warmth to set your garden up for a smooth transition into autumn, no matter where you're gardening in Australia. So let's get to it.
Okay.
What are the first signs in the garden that summer is wrapping up and autumn is on the way, apart from the changes of colour in the leaves and things?
Yeah, well, that as well. But I mean, a lot of things need a bit of deadheading. For instance,
Yes.
you'd be going through having a look at all your plants, and I'm not talking just about perennials, but any flower that is starting to come towards the end. Now it's a great time to be going in there and just deadheading those off, tidying them up, making the garden look as good as it possibly can after that hot, long summer.
Which we've had a coolish. We had a cool December. We've had a really quite a hot, dry. Is it January?
January, yeah.
Yeah, January
Yep.
And then into February. So, yes, we've had sort of a bit of a combination of things. So, yes, our gardens are looking as though they need a little bit of a bit of a tidy up. You're right. And water. That's right. Now, why is the transition period between the two seasons so important for plant health?
Because you really need to set yourself up for success for later on in the year. So there's lots and lots of things that actually make this segment just so important for gardeners. For instance, soil preparation. You can think about what you can be adding back to your soil, because lots and lots of plants, and including vegetables and everything else, have taken so much goodness out of the soil,
Depleted it.
that you really need to be thinking about what you can put and what you can add back into that soil, so that the plants get a chance to slow down, but they know that come the winter time, they're nice and settled, and then come into springtime, they've got all that goodness sitting there waiting for them to take off. So soil preparation at this time of the year is really important.
And how do we do that, Keith?
What
should we be doing?
There's lots of things you can be doing. You could be adding organic fertilizers, for instance, such as Rooster Booster or Gigantic, depending on what your garden requirements are. And another great thing you can be doing is, in actual fact, is putting in some prepping fork holes into your garden beds, whether they're raised or not. They're a great way of doing it. Get that air down, get that water down, and then get the goodness to follow down into the soil. So that you're just setting everything up for success.
Okay.
So the good old FD Ryan prepping fork is a ripper to sort of be considering.
Compost?
Compost is also another great thing. So this is something that I use on a regular basis, and just I want to quantify that. Compost at this time of the year is great to add to the bulk of the soil, but it's not really going to be utilised by the plants, because plants are coming into that slowing dormancy.
Yep.
And this is where you might think about using something like an organic fertiliser like Rooster Booster or Gigantic or one of these, because that's still going to take 2 to 3 months before it's available in the soil for the actual plants themselves. So putting that down in autumn is a fabulous time to be adding to your soil amendments and getting it really up and going.
Yeah. Is it a good time to do some transplanting too?
Great time for transplanting, and this was something that I sort of thought about when we first raised this as a topic. You've got lots of great things to be doing for transplanting, and there's a number of things that you can look at. For instance, if you've got plants that have rhizomes, it's a great time to be thinking about dividing those up and moving them into the soil.
For example?
And this is a bad example for me because what I put into my garden, into the trial garden this year, are rhizomes for the flowering plants. So I put in things like Crocosmia, for instance, Crocosmia lucifer. Now, I bought those as little tiny little rhizomes this big, about the size of a thumb, put them into the soil, beautifully prepared soil, and now they've grown and produced, nice foliage, but to about 300 mil. And then out of probably 15 of those rhizomes of the Crocosmia, I've got one flower head, and it is a pathetic little effort on the part of the plant.
Oh.
And the reason for that is that those rhizomes need to be storing and gathering as much energy up during this period of time in order to provide and produce beautiful big flower heads and great looking leaves for next year.
Next season, right.
So this one for me is a bad example. But next year, when I've got fabulous rhizomes of the Crocosmia and any other sort of rhizomes that you might want to include in your garden, this is the time then next year, for me, I'll be dividing those up and either gifting those to someone or, moving them around in the garden bed.
Okay, yep.
So that's a great time. Another really important thing to be thinking about is if you're going to be doing any sort of planting, autumn is the most awesome time of the year to be doing that.
It's the best.
It's the absolute best. So it's a great time of the year to be thinking about maybe next year's perennial garden.
Yep.
You go and buy your little small plants, you put them into ground that you've already added your compost and your organic fertilizer. But when you do that, you're putting it into soil that is still warm.
Yep.
You've got that beautiful warmth in that soil, which will stimulate the root growth of those newly planted plants out into the environment just around them. And then they will go into that dormancy period during the late autumn into winter.
To get used to their position in soil.
And then come the springtime, they've already established their root system, so now they're going to go bang, and really take off.
Are there any plants at this time of the year that should be left alone, specifically?
No, I don't. I can't. I can't think of any.
Okay, so this is the great time to do everything with the garden. We don't need to no holding back. No holding back.
And one of the big things is if you're going to be putting in larger specimen plants, this is a terrific time to be thinking about preparing your soils as best as you can. And what I mean there is that if you want to produce or create a garden that's going to look fabulous straight away, then you'd be looking at getting ready to buy bare-rooted stock, whether it's bare-rooted fruit trees or bare-rooted deciduous plants. Yep. This is the time that you want to be planning ahead for all that. Mm-hmm. And as part of that, you've got an opportunity at this time of the year to have a look at what's worked and what hasn't worked in a garden.
Yes.
And then prepare for those changes and make those changes.
I have big plans to do that. I'm looking forward to it. Yep.
And that's part of a garden. A garden is evolving all the time. It's the most. If a garden's not evolving, then it's a pretty boring bloody garden as far as I'm concerned. Yep. If you're looking at something and saying, well, listen, that didn't work, well, change it. And
move it somewhere else and put something else in or
and
whatever.
Move it around. I mean, that's the whole beauty about the trial garden in my place. Yeah. I've looked at things in there that I put in, and some things haven't performed as well as I expected them to. So I look at those and say to myself, well, I'm going to move that from there over to here, and I'm going to spray that there with Firehawk and get rid of it totally. Mm-hmm. And you just work on that particular basis. So this is the time of the year that you look at your garden and you say, gee whiz, I can do better in this particular spot. And go and be prepared to make that change. You don't have to just get rid of it and chuck it in the bin. You wait until you cut it right back and then wait until you've got that dormancy period and then you dig it up and move it.
Absolutely.
And this is the beauty about the perennials. You've got that opportunity.
I'm sitting here while you're talking and looking at this globe thistle, which is out there, which is amazing. It's gone berserk. And I'm thinking, I think it's a bit too big. So I think in autumn I might move it to a spot where it's sort of it's more at the back of the garden or something. Yeah, so things like that you want to, we've had it for 2 years. I think it's great, but it's just getting so big. Mm-hmm. I might put it somewhere else.
Why not?
That'll be in autumn.
That's a great
cut it back and put it out in autumn. Yeah. Now, how should watering change now, obviously, as the temperatures drop?
Well, if you're talking about vegetable beds, nothing changes.
Starting with vegetable beds.
All right. Well, nothing changes there. We need to be sort of thinking about the next lot of crops that's coming through. So autumn means that in my backyard, I've got about 50 tomato plants that'll be just about spent by then, so they're all going to be ripped out, and then I've got to prepare the soils, lots and lots of Clyde compost and lignite humate and this sort of stuff.
Nice rock dust.
Flung dung. I've got the wool grow matting down at the moment, which has been fantastic.
Yep.
It's stopped all sorts of pests and crap coming in.
Fantastic stuff,
which is good.
Yep.
So in terms of watering for your vegetable beds, that
Remains
retains the 4 mil every day.
Yep.
Week in, week out.
Yep.
In the rest of the garden, for instance, my fruit trees are being watered while they're in high production every 2 to 3 days.
Yep.
And that will be cutting back as they start to go into that autumn-winter dormancy. So I might turn those off completely and have no watering with the fruit trees whatsoever.
And hope that we'll get some natural water from the sky.
And that's another great thing.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky enough to for the irrigation system I've put in, it preempts me by saying, listen, I'm turning the watering system off tomorrow because your local weather forecast says you're going to get rain.
Amazing.
So it's fabulous.
Yeah, that is amazing. Now, autumn is the best time of year for planting trees, shrubs and perennials, as we know. Why is that?
Because of the soil temperature.
But also the fact that it's going to go into dormancy, so now's the time for it to settle.
Yeah, it'll settle in. But those plants will still establish a root system into that nice warm soil before it goes into dormancy, so then it'll just take off.
Yeah, in spring.
What
should we be doing about our lawns as growth starts to slow down at this time of year, isn't it?
My lawn is all kikuyu. It is classified as a rubbishy grass, but it serves its purpose as far as I'm concerned. Now, if you saw my lawn in the middle of winter for a temperate grass, it's a grass that requires lots and lots of warmth in order to keep it going, I can force that grass along by fertilising it on a regular basis. So once again, I get out there with the FD Ryan prepping fork.
Or the broad fork.
And get that in, and then I give it a fertilise. Okay. So autumn's a great time to push that grass on growth-wise through into the winter time where it will retain its green. It won't go that horrible yellow. And then the other thing that I do is make sure that my mowing height is nice and high.
Yeah.
And that will also carry that beautiful green colour all the way through rather than cutting it down too low.
And it's a good time for doing repairs.
Great time to be doing
reseeding.
Yep.
This is again the best time to do all those sorts of things.
Yeah.
Yep.
So when you talk about reseeding, if you're going to be reseeding any lawn areas, then what I would really suggest you do in autumn, in order to get them established really, really quickly, is create a bit of a bed for the seed to go in. So get a rake and rough rake that soil, sprinkle your seeds over the top of that, and then rather than putting anything over the top of the seeds, like sand or dirt, cover that with fine straw hay. So if you get one bale of straw hay will do a whole backyard just about.
Yeah.
And then what you do is straw hay, when you start to break it up, you get these little biscuits. They're called biscuits. So they're probably about 50 millimetres wide, and they break off like that. And you just break that up and just chuck it over the seeds that you've sown there, and then hit it with the hose. Just water it.
Yeah.
And that adds heat to the top as well as the warmth that's in the ground, and it germinates the seeds so quickly. So the seeds will come up through the straw, and then you don't rake the straw off when the seed, you just leave it to rot. And then you just mow the top. And that's adding more organic matter over that seeded area. So
it's a great tip.
It's a great little way of establishing a lawn in autumn. It's fabulous.
And it's stopping the birds from perhaps
getting the seed
as well.
Birds won't go and find those little
Love
tiny
that.
seeds. So,
what a great tip.
So
Thanks,
that's
Keith.
a terrific little idea.
We'll remember that. Now, for one of the least desirable but most important questions, what pests or diseases should we be keeping an eye out for as the seasons change?
This time of the year, we're still going to have that rotten, stinking white butterfly around.
No, there's a lot of them around at the moment.
There are so many of those little mongrels around.
Yep.
And it can become a real big problem. It's going to become a real big problem in my garden because I'm going to be growing some brassicas, which you have to sow in or put the plants in February in order to harvest in July of that same year, and that is Brussels sprouts.
So
I'm going to have to make sure that they're all netted. to stop that rotten, stinking white butterfly laying its little hideous little eggs and
they
getting
do
those
like-
horrible
they
little
do like the
caterpillars.
brassicas, yes.
So if you and some people still like to actually grow brassicas during this, the late summer into autumn and then into winter. So they're sowing things like broccoli and cauliflowers and cabbages. So if you're going to be doing that, the biggest pest you'll ever find is going to be that white butterfly. So get some beautiful netting over the top of that.
Yep. Okay, fantastic idea. For those gardeners who only have time for a few key jobs, what are they going to be? Soil amendments.
Yep.
Broad fork.
Forking. Yep.
What did you call it? Prepping fork or broad fork. What else was there? Making plans,
Feeding.
making changes. Yeah, feeding, obviously.
Yep.
Yes.
Doing a bit of garden layout, seeing what worked, what didn't work,
Yep.
where you can make changes. That's
Okay.
a great thing to be doing it.
Okay.
And when you're doing that, think about the irrigation at the same time.
Yep.
Where I'm ripping out a bed, do I need to run a new line in there so the water's going to get to that particular area?
Something I have to
so
do,
that's
yes.
something else that
Another thing to
you've
think
got
about.
to take into consideration
Yep.
as well.
Yep. Okay.
Another thing that I'm going to be doing this year
Yep.
in a lot of my beds where I've got the fruit trees, I'm going to be planting paper daisies.
Beautiful. We've been talking about paper daisies a bit
Yep.
lately. Yes.
So
beautiful thing.
I'm going to be sowing seeds of paper daisies in autumn. And what will happen there is that hopefully we'll get a bit of rain, or I'll turn the sprinklers on to make sure we've got germination. And then those paper daisies will germinate and they'll provide a rosette, which is just the little basal
what a
growth down the
rosette
bottom.
is.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's the basal growth.
Yeah.
And then they will go into dormancy into winter.
So, yeah.
But that rosette will have set itself up for quick growth in the springtime, and then hopefully it'll have a massive backyard full of
paper daisies.
Full of paper daisies.
Which you can then dry off.
Well, you don't need to because they're already just about dried.
They are pretty dry, aren't they? So then you keep, though. Once you've enjoyed them in the house, what do you do with them after that?
Well, you can the lass out between hay and not hay,
Deniliquin or something?
Dubbo and orange,
All right.
and collect them and fill up the hall of the Melbourne International Flower and Garden Show like she did.
So she did it last year.
Yeah, she did it last year.
Right.
Whole display, enormous display of these beautiful paper daisies.
And they keep their colour quite well?
They keep their colour beautifully.
Okay.
Superb. And
Look forward to seeing yours grow.
yeah, and the other thing too, that if you want to think about outside the box with sowing seeds, it's a great time to think about putting down a wildflower meadow.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Which are just, they can
We could
be
do that
just
in
so
our nature strip.
enchanting.
Could do it in the nature
You
strip.
could do it in nature strip, yep.
We're talking about what to do with the nature strip. That's what we could do.
Well, you could do it in nature strip, and you could do it in the same way that I told you about sowing your seeds for your
With
grass.
the hay? With the hay?
With the hay. Just cover it with hay.
Love that
water
idea.
it down,
Let's
and
do it.
put a wildflower meadow out there.
Oh, my God.
That would just stop. It would stop every single car going down the street.
And driving on the nature strip and parking on the nature strip. But that is a great idea. I must not forget that. Is there anything we've forgotten about what we need to do in autumn?
No, just make sure you get out in the garden, enjoy it, and
Have
love
some
it.
fun and enjoy the cooler weather because it's much nicer when it's not boiling hot out there. That's
It
the
is,
perfect
yeah.
time of year for so many
I
reasons.
love autumn. I think it's probably the nicest time of the year because you've
is.
got these nice warm days and then you've got that beautiful cool evenings.
And it's exciting because we can think, okay, as we've discussed already, what didn't work? What are we going to change?
Yep.
It's an exciting
Get into
time.
it.
It is an exciting time. Autumn, obviously, is one of the best seasons to work in the garden. We just said that, and I've written it down. And a little effort now will go a long way to setting your garden up for healthier growth and fewer problems throughout the year and beyond. Thanks for joining us on Muddy Boots, everybody. We look forward to chatting with you again next week. In the meantime, happy gardening.
Happy gardening.
Thank you for listening to Muddy Boots. For more information on today's podcast, please go to muddyboots.net.au and happy gardening.